Greetings, it's your boy Mr. Potato here. Today we're venturing into the labyrinth of secrets surrounding the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing conspiracy theory. So buckle up and let's dive into the world of the unknown, the controversial and the downright strange. On May 22, 2017, tragedy struck at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, England. A night of music and celebration took a horrific turn, echoing with the sound of an explosion that rocked the heart of the Manchester Arena. The event was meant to be a joyous occasion, filled with fans from all walks of life, gathered to enjoy the music of the pop sensation, Ariana Grande. But as the concert drew to a close, a sinister plot was unfolding. A lone bomber, later identified as Salman Abedi, detonated a homemade device in the foyer of the arena, resulting in a blast of devastating proportions. In the blink of an eye, the euphoria of the concert was replaced with chaos and confusion. The blast ripped through the crowd, leaving behind a scene of destruction and despair. 22 innocent lives were lost that night, and hundreds more were injured, forever scarred by the horrifying event. The youngest victim was merely 8 years old, a heartbreaking reminder of the innocence that was stolen that night. Emergency services arrived swiftly on the scene, battling through the chaos to reach those in need. The city of Manchester, and indeed the entire world, watched in shock as the horrific events unfolded. The immediate aftermath was a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and a desperate struggle to comprehend the magnitude of the tragedy. In the days that followed, tributes poured in from across the globe, and Manchester became a city united in grief and resilience. But as the dust settled, questions began to arise. Who was the bomber? What were his motivations? How could such a tragedy have been allowed to occur? These questions, and many more, were on the minds of millions. The official narrative pointed to a lone wolf terrorist attack. But for some, this explanation wasn't sufficient. As is often the case in the wake of such events, whispers of alternative theories began to circulate. But as with any major tragic event, conspiracy theories began to circulate almost immediately. The official narrative was questioned by many, sparking a number of conspiracy theories. Now let's delve into the heart of these theories. The first, and perhaps most frequently discussed, is the false flag theory. This theory posits that the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing was not the work of an individual or group of terrorists, but rather it was a staged event orchestrated by the government itself. According to this perspective, the government staged the event to manipulate public opinion, to justify increased surveillance and control, or to divert attention from other controversial actions. The second theory is known as the Hoax Theory. Proponents of this view argue that the entire event was a fabrication, a complete illusion created through the use of crisis actors and sophisticated media manipulation. They believe that the event was not real, that no one was actually harmed, and that the images and stories we saw were all part of an elaborate hoax designed to deceive us. The third theory is what we call the distraction theory. This theory suggests that the bombing was a real event, but that it was deliberately timed to distract the public's attention from other significant political events or scandals. The idea here is that the powers that be used the event as a smokescreen to cover up or draw attention away from other activities that they didn't want the public to scrutinize. Each of these theories, in its own right, presents a radically different interpretation of the event. It's important to note here that these theories are not universally accepted, nor are they without controversy. While they may offer alternative explanations, none of them have been able to provide concrete, irrefutable evidence to support their claims. Yet despite the lack of hard evidence, these theories have managed to find an audience. They've tapped into a deep-seated skepticism that some people have towards official narratives and mainstream media. They've provided an outlet for those who question the status quo, for those who believe that things are not always as they seem. It's also worth mentioning that these theories are not just about the Manchester bombing. They represent a broader trend, a growing inclination to question, to challenge, to look beyond the surface. They're part of a larger dialogue about truth, about power, about control. In the end, what these theories really highlight is the complexity of our world, the difficulty in discerning fact from fiction, the challenge in understanding the true nature of events. They underscore the importance of critical thinking, of asking questions, of seeking truth in a world filled with misinformation and manipulation. Each of these theories, while lacking concrete evidence, has found a following among those skeptical of the official narrative. The false flag theory suggests the government orchestrated the bombing to create fear and control. Now let's delve into the murky waters of this theory. The term false flag has its roots in naval warfare. Ships would fly flags that were different from their countries to deceive the enemy. In this context, however, it implies that a government would stage a disaster, causing harm to its own people, to achieve ulterior motives. The false flag theory regarding the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing suggests that the government was the puppet master behind the dreadful event. But why, you may ask? The theory proposes the government orchestrated this to create a climate of fear and uncertainty. In such an atmosphere, the theory suggests, people are more likely to give up their rights and freedoms in the name of security and protection. It's a classic case of problem-reaction-solution. The government creates a problem, waits for the public reaction of fear and demands for safety, then provides the solution of increased surveillance, reduced privacy, and heightened security measures. The proponents of this theory argue that there are inconsistencies in the official narrative, suggesting that not everything is as it seems. They point to perceived anomalies in the footage and testimonies from the event, and question the rapid response and narrative formation by the government and mainstream media. However, this theory, like many conspiracy theories, is not without its detractors. Critics argue that the false flag theory is a product of mistrust and suspicion, not evidence. They point out that these theories often rely on speculation and misinterpretation rather than hard facts. The false flag theory, while intriguing, is largely dismissed by experts. Academics, journalists, and investigators alike argue that there's a significant lack of credible evidence to support such an elaborate and sinister plot. Instead, they maintain that the tragic event was the work of a lone extremist, not a shadowy government conspiracy. While captivating, this theory is largely dismissed by experts due to lack of credible evidence. The hoax theory, on the other hand, alleges the bombing was entirely staged, a complete fabrication. Now, the hoax theory is a bit of a rabbit hole, but let's dive in. This theory posits that the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing was not real at all. It suggests that the entire event was a meticulously orchestrated act involving crisis actors, fake news, and special effects. The purpose? To instill fear, manipulate public opinion, or justify certain government actions. What's the evidence supporting this theory? Well, some point to perceived inconsistencies in the media reports or what they believe to be odd behavior from the supposed victims and their families. They scrutinize images and videos of the aftermath, claiming to find anomalies that suggest staging. There's also the notion of predictive programming, the claim that the event was subtly foreshadowed in media like music videos or films as a part of some grand plan. Some theorists even argue that certain symbols or codes were present in Ariana Grande's prior works, hinting at the forthcoming incident. But why would anyone believe such a theory? Well, it's complicated. Some people are naturally skeptical and question everything they're told, especially by authorities or mainstream media. Others may feel empowered by the idea of possessing hidden or forbidden knowledge. And for some, the idea that such a horrific event could be entirely fabricated is somehow less terrifying than the reality of random, senseless violence. It's important to remember, however, that this theory has been thoroughly examined and debunked by various experts. The inconsistencies are typically the result of initial confusion or misinformation, common in the aftermath of chaotic events. The supposed anomalies can usually be explained by simple logic or understanding of human behavior under extreme stress. Again, this theory has been widely debunked, but it continues to circulate in certain circles. It's a stark reminder of the power of belief and the lengths to which some will go to maintain their worldview, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The distraction theory posits the bombing served to divert public attention from other political events. Now, this is where things get intriguing. This theory proposes that the horrific event was a calculated move to divert the public's gaze from other significant political happenings that were taking place around the same time. So, what were these events that were supposedly being overshadowed? Well, there were several, but let's focus on a few major ones. First, around the time of the bombing, there were heated debates over controversial policies and political decisions. Second, international tensions were at a peak, with numerous geopolitical issues making the headlines. Lastly, There were also allegations of corruption and scandals involving prominent figures that were conveniently swept under the rug. But why has this theory gained traction? Well, people tend to believe that governments, or those in power, are capable of creating distractions to shift attention away from their wrongdoings or controversial decisions. This theory taps into that suspicion and distrust of authority figures. However, it's essential to note that while these theories may seem plausible, they often rely on speculation and assumptions rather than hard evidence. They also tend to ignore the complexity of political systems and the unpredictability of events. For instance, the timing of the bombing could have been coincidental, and the events it supposedly overshadowed could have been just as prominent in the public eye if the bombing had not happened. Moreover, these theories often oversimplify the motives and actions of those involved. They assume that the people or groups responsible for these events are working with a single-minded focus and are capable of pulling off such elaborate schemes without any slips or mistakes. So while the distraction theory provides an alternative narrative, it's crucial to remember that it's just a theory. It's built on a foundation of speculation and circumstantial evidence, which is far from conclusive. While intriguing like the other theories, this one also lacks substantial evidence. As always, it's essential to approach these theories with a healthy dose of skepticism and critical thinking. Conspiracy theories, while often dismissed, have a significant impact on public perception and discourse. These cryptic narratives may seem harmless, like an entertaining diversion from our daily lives. However, they can become powerful catalysts that shape our understanding of events, often in ways that diverge from established evidence. These theories, once confined to the fringes of society, find fertile ground in the digital age. They spread like wildfire across social media platforms, gaining momentum and followers. This phenomenon raises some serious questions about the role of these platforms in propagating misinformation. Conspiracy theories can create an alternate reality, one that's often riddled with suspicion and distrust. They can breed skepticism towards authoritative sources, creating a chasm between the public and institutions that are meant to safeguard their interests. They don't just question the official narrative, they undermine the credibility of those who present it. Moreover, conspiracy theories can cause tangible harm. They can incite fear, provoke hostility, and even inspire acts of violence. They can tarnish reputations, damage relationships, and erode trust in communal bonds. They can also manipulate public opinion, influencing political outcomes and policy decisions. Within the context of tragic events, conspiracy theories can be particularly damaging. They can exploit the grief and trauma of those affected, turning their pain into a spectacle for public consumption. They can trivialize the loss, distort the truth, and obstruct justice. However, it's essential to recognize that these theories often stem from a place of fear and uncertainty. They're a coping mechanism, a way to make sense of the chaos in our world. They provide a semblance of control, a narrative that's easier to digest than the often complex and messy reality. While it's human nature to seek explanations, it's crucial to differentiate between healthy skepticism and baseless speculation. It's crucial to approach these theories critically, valuing evidence over speculation. As we navigate through the sea of information, let's strive to be discerning consumers, not passive recipients, of the narratives that shape our world. In conclusion, the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing conspiracy theories, while intriguing, lack substantial evidence. We've journeyed through a maze of ideas, each with its own unique twist, yet they all share a common thread. They raise questions, they challenge the official narrative, but they fail to provide concrete proof. We delved into the false flag theory, a belief that the incident was a covert operation by a hidden entity, a play for power or control. Yet, it was found wanting in terms of hard facts or clear motives. We explored the hoax theory, the notion that the entire event was staged, a spectacle designed to manipulate public emotion. But again, the glaring absence of tangible evidence undermines its credibility. We also examined the distraction theory, the idea that the event was orchestrated to divert our attention from other significant happenings. However, this theory too falls short in providing a clear connection or motive. In each case, we see the same pattern. Theories are built on speculation, not on substantiated facts. They thrive on doubt and uncertainty, but they cannot withstand the scrutiny of rigorous investigation. On a broader note, we also discuss the impact of such conspiracy theories. While they can stimulate critical thinking, they can also fuel misinformation and fear, causing harm to individuals and society. Remember, it's essential to question, but equally important to seek truth. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Until next time, it's your boy, Mr. Potato, signing off.